Hello, I'm John. Welcome back. I've got a tag video for you today, and this is the Clean Slate book tag, which was created by Catalyst Reads. It was revived by Jess at Jess Book Girl TV, and I was tagged by Alan at Alan's Reads. So this is an older tag. I think it's from about 5 years ago, and I've heard that Catalyst Reads doesn't exist anymore as a channel, which is sad, but you know, Booktube channels come and go, unfortunately. So I'm just going to jump right into this one. Number 1, are there any genres that you're going to read more of or less of in 2025? I haven't really thought about it all that much. So my goal at the beginning of the year was to read classics and biographies. I think I've read one classic, and I'm in the middle of my second biography. So the first biography was The Queen by Elizabeth Longford, about Queen Elizabeth II, which was really good. And the one I'm in the middle of right now is called Dasher, about Jimmy Carter. This one's from 1978, I believe. So very much in the Carter period. I don't remember what the classic was right off the top of my head. No, I take that back. I've read 2 classics now. So I've read A Journey to the Center of the Earth by Jules Verne. But there's another one. Oh, The Voyage of Argo by Apollonius of Rhodes. So I'm trying to read more classics and biographies. It's just that I don't really read that way. I don't really have a TBR. And I don't push myself to read certain books because I rebel against that almost immediately. Even on my own terms, I rebel against that. I guess I'm a mood reader, or I follow my whims wherever they go very much. I don't like being stuck into any one genre. And if there are any genres I'm going to read less of, I don't think so. I haven't thought about that really at all. I would like to read more science fiction this year. It's been quite a long time since I've read science fiction, and I have a lot of it. You can't see it, but there's a lot of it on this bookshelf right over here. And I have more in my kitchen on a bookshelf in there. And I have, a lot of the big names of science fiction. I have Heinlein, Arthur C. Clarke, Philip K. Dick, Harlan Ellison, etc. And I really, really need to get to those. I think that with science fiction, there is that, there's almost an educational thing to it, which is really good, but I kind of, and this is going to seem odd because I read so much nonfiction, but I read nonfiction for entertainment. Whereas with science fiction, I feel sometimes I have to struggle to get into the plot, struggle to get into it and understand what's going on. And that kind of saps away the pleasure of reading fiction to me. But anyway, so my answers are, yeah, I'd like to read more science fiction and classics and biographies this year. Number 2, are there any books you have recently read that have challenged some of your own philosophies and beliefs? I don't think so. Not recently. It's been some time since I read specifically for that purpose, and I've mostly been reading for entertainment over the past couple of years. And I've read pretty widely in my life, and I've read about a lot of different subjects. So finding something new is not the easiest thing for me to do. There are plenty of new things. I mean, I have a bunch of philosophy sitting around here that I could read, but my days of reading philosophy are kind of behind me. I still read it from time to time when I need to give my brain a workout. But it's been a little while. The last book of philosophy I read was The Antichrist by Friedrich Nietzsche, and that's been about 3 months ago. That's just a little short book, and I'm already pretty familiar with Nietzsche, so there wasn't really anything new there. I've read several of his books, and then I've read a biography about him. I've read 2 biographies about him, actually. The Walter Kaufmann biography, and then Nietzsche in Turin, which is about his last couple of months of sanity. So unfortunately, the answer to that is not that I can think of. I'm sure there have been some, but I read a lot of books, and I've been exposed to a lot of ideas throughout my life, so I just can't think of any off the top of my head. And that's probably a bad thing, right? I probably need to push myself to encounter some new things and to challenge myself that way. Number 3, who would you recommend for a newbie to watch? So I don't want to really recommend anybody here because we all have different interests and we're all going to vibe with different people. And I don't want to leave anybody out, but there are plenty of people in this space for a newbie to watch. There are plenty of genuine creators who are here because they love books and they love reading and they love to interact with other readers and to talk about what they've read. And so my advice really to anyone new to Booktube would be to find the genuine creators. Find people who are here for the right reasons as opposed to the wrong reasons. And it's kind of hard to explain exactly what I mean, but there are people who have channels who are here to look smart, to gain a following, and to make money. And that's really the only reason they're here. They're not here to interact with readers. They're not here to revel in books or in the bookish sphere. They just saw an opportunity to have a lot of viewers and make money. And that's unfortunate, but you're going to find that everywhere and everything. So just find genuine people. Find people who are here for the right reasons. And I think they're pretty easy to tell the difference of who's who. Okay, number 4. Do you have a book bucket list? No, I don't. So there are plenty of books that I would like to read before I kick the bucket, the proverbial bucket. But I would be perfectly fine to not have read them. You know what I mean? Like, at that point, it's going to cease to make a difference. I just try to read what I enjoy, and that steers me in the right direction, and I'm just fine with that. There are books I can think of that I'd really like to read, but I'll either get to them or I won't. That's kind of how I look at that. Number 5. What is it about Booktube that has surprised you the most? That would be that it exists. So I didn't know that Booktube existed until about 2.5 years ago. I stumbled on it by complete accident, and I just thought, my God, I've found my people. And I've found my people. I love this space. I love Booktube. I love the people who create videos and the readers and to read the comments. It changed everything for me because up until that period I had been very, very alone in the books I like to read. I'd been alone as a reader, and I had no idea this space existed. I read a book, and I got on YouTube to see if anyone had reviewed it. I think it was one of the Aliens books. Or, I know it was science fiction because the first channel I ever found was Bookpill, back when he had very few subscribers, and back when there was the sci-fireplace and everything. And yeah, so that's been what's most surprising to me, is just that it exists at all. I had no idea it exists. Number 6. What are some of your goals? Doesn't have to be Booktube. I am not the best person for making goals, honestly. I would really like to, and this is a Booktube goal, I would like to do a tag video every week. I haven't been very good about that, and I would like to change that. I'd like to do a tag video every week. Number 7. If you could meet, dead or alive, any writer, artist, or musician, who would they be? So this is going to be a disappointing answer, I think, for pretty much anyone watching. But I've admired a lot of people in my life, but I don't think there are a lot of people, living or dead, who I would really want to go out of my way to meet. I prefer to know people through their medium. And through their art, through their writing, through their music, because you hear this a lot, but the the art and the artist are two entirely different things, and that is true. So I could say Warren Zevon, right? I think that I would like to have met Warren Zevon. Um, George Carlin, for instance, he was a writer. I would have liked to have met George Carlin. As for artists, there are a lot of artists that I really admire that I know their work but not their names. So the only artist I can think of right now, there's two that are in my head, Franz Marc and Grant Wood. And so I guess those are going to have to be my answers for that. I'm sorry, it's kind of a disappointing, because like I said, I really, the person and the art, like Warren Zevon, for instance, he was a very bad drunk. As much as I love his music, I don't know if I'd have liked to have actually met him. I think Carlin would have been pretty cool in person. I mean, he seemed like just a regular person when he wasn't on stage. But anyway, okay, moving on. Number 8. Would you rather have your life written by your favorite author or be portrayed in a movie by your favorite actor or actress? I don't think I would choose either of those things, to be honest with you. I mean, all of my favorite actors and actresses are either too old or too dead. So I don't know. I don't know why anybody would want to make a movie of my life or write a book about it. Okay, I did. I wrote a book about my life, but it was just for my own catharsis. I wouldn't want anybody to have to read it. Number 9, what are some of the challenges you have overcome or would still like to improve in regards to your channel? I have really bad nerves about this. So sometimes I set up the camera and I get in front of it and I am so anxious that I can barely function. And to be honest, what you won't see that I have had to sit here through is, and the dogs had to sit through it, was me trying to answer question number 7 for about 10 minutes solid and coming up with one name after another and feeling like none of them were particularly interesting, and then saying, well, I don't really want to meet them. But, sometimes I get really frustrated doing this, and if you've ever seen Winnebago Man, I can be like that sometimes. I know that doesn't come across on the screen, but I edit all those outbursts out. I'm not quite as bad as Winnebago Man. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, it's on YouTube. Look up Winnebago Man. Be prepared for lots of foul language. He was trying to film like a Winnebago movie, like, an ad in the, what are those things called? The come on late at night, the really long ads. I guess, I'm not exactly sure what it was, but he was having a very frustrating time. It's called Winnebago Man. It's on YouTube. Okay, so that's kind of the challenges that I would like to overcome. I'd like to be less anxious and less frustrated. And those are really the obstacles that stand in my way. All right, number 10. What advice would you give to someone that is thinking about deleting their YouTube channel? Well, I've heard this from several people so far, and I would agree, which is that you shouldn't do it on impulse. And you should take some time away from it if you need to. Lately, there have been several channels that have, there are several creators lately who have completely nuked their channel. And they were channels that I really enjoyed. And unless they come back, I'm never going to see them again. I'm never going to interact with them again. And, that's painful because I know you don't actually get to know people on the screen, really. I mean, you can talk to them in the comments. You don't really get to know them unless you meet in person. But it is a strange thing to wake up in the morning and find that somebody you respect and who you enjoy listening to um, is gone forever. So, there, like I said, there have been several channels lately that have been deleted, and I felt like each of those creators had a unique and important voice and something to add to this space, and I found that really depressing. And so my advice would be just please don't. I almost did, I'll be honest. Back last year after I'd started, I think it was in October, this is before I could edit videos, I was doing every video in one take. And some of my videos were 25, 30 minutes long. So if I screwed up halfway through, um, it would just sap all the joy out of it, and I would do it again, and I almost deleted it. And I'm really glad that I didn't, because I know that I said that I get anxious and I get frustrated, but I enjoy doing this, and I enjoy interacting with the people in the comments and with other creators. And I really think that this space is positive, overwhelmingly positive. There is some negativity, of course, but I don't think there's any more negativity here than there is in any other sphere of life, except that perhaps the negativity experienced on the internet is sometimes more blatant and insulting than it tends to be in person. And I'm very lucky in that I have yet to really encounter that. I've encountered a few negative comments and a couple of people who wanted to school me in things, and that was frustrating. But yeah, I'll just go back and say that please don't delete your channel. Step back from it. Please don't delete it. And, just make a video every now and then if you want. Nobody says you have to be here all the time, or that you have to stick to a certain schedule, or that you have to do tags or top 10 lists or anything like that. Just every now and then make a video, and make it a video you enjoy. It doesn't have to be something over edited or finely sculpted or anything like that. I just think that it is an overwhelmingly positive thing to take part in this space. And yeah, so just please don't delete your channel, because I'll miss you. Number 11, who do you tag? So I'm going to look up who hasn't done this tag yet and tag them. And okay, so I want to thank Catalyst Reads for creating this, even though they don't have a channel anymore, unfortunately. I want to thank Jess at Jess Book Girl TV, who revived this tag. And I want to thank Alan from Alan's Reads, who tagged me. And, if anyone else has tagged me, I want to apologize for not mentioning you, but the YouTube notifications is being really weird with me lately. They don't show me all the notifications I get, and they're not showing me. It's really strange. Sometimes I can see all of them, sometimes I can't. So if anyone else has tagged me, I'll thank you here as well. And I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.